That's plenty. Look at that wand. It hums with inner source. Good find.
You made it all this way. I'm sorry.
He trembles and seems to shudder with a quiet sob.
I'm cursed, you know. Bloody Brachus bound me here to protect his vault. He has my soul in that jar just there, and I can't leave without it. As long as the jar stays unbroken, I can never truly die. I don't rightly know. This was the Source King's way. Befriend you, then destroy you. I was a fool to expect I'd be an exception. His favor was intoxicating. That's no excuse, but it is the reason. Really? You would?
He drops to his knees before you and grabs onto your feet with both hands, head hanging.
Thank you.
Lucky find.
A soul jar rests between two fallen columns, emanating a faint odor of seaweed and timber. When you touch the glass, your vision wavers. You emerge on the prow of a fine ship. Your armor pulses with enchantment, dominating those who draw near. Your flag flies for Brachus Rex, a tyrant who traded for your soul. With his power, your flesh and blood is no longer relevant. The vision fades as the soul thrashes, trying to sever your connection. In the end, greed masters you. You seek out the tyrant's vault to retrieve your soul, but Brachus is ready with a trap. Thus imprisoned, you can only dream about what is out of reach. Your soul, and that alluring armor. The vision shatters as the soul squirms away from you, curling up in the bottom of the jar. The soul jar pulses with trapped life force. What remains of the outraged soul molds itself into a defiant skull, glowering at you before it vanishes.
Snake! Worm!
This jar glitters and glows. From within, you think you can make out the distant sound of laughter. With a jerk, your mind is pulled to a scene in a tavern. You see a dwarf in the center of the room, joking us all around roar with laughter, all bar the zombies who are slavishly serving food and drink. The door opens and a tall, beautiful woman stalks into the room. She's flanked by heavily armed guards. You can't make out her words, but see the fear in the dwarf's eyes. The dwarf mutters a word, and the undead lurch towards the intruder, but are cut down like wheat. The dwarf tries to run, pushing her friends into the woman's path, but is grabbed before she can escape. As she's dragged away to a tower, you hear her cursing Brachus Rex and his whore. Even when she's thrown inside and the door sealed, you can still hear her shouts. You pull your hand away from the jar, your head swimming. You can feel the dwarf's cold terror still twisting in your gut. The vision fades.
I've rarely seen such cowardice on display.
Honestly, making the dead do menial work sounds kinder than having the living do it.
Being locked in a tower was more kindness than any necromancer deserves.
The jar seems quieter now. It sits still. The jar shatters like glass, but
Oh, beautiful. Thank you. My death waits.
the jar on the plinth before you seems ancient, but is in surprisingly good condition. It's covered in pictograms that you can't understand, but you're sure you just saw one of them move. The pictograms spin to life, and you're dragged into a dream. You see the lizards of the ancient empire turning their backs on you, casting you out into the wilderness. As you roam, the human apes turn away from you, all but one. One smiles, one opens his arms, one says he'll take you home, Brachus Rex. He promises power for a price. He picks off your golden scales, one by one, stripping you down to the bone. He promised you a crown, but all you got was shackles. You try to fight, try to reclaim what's yours, but a woman takes you by the hand and leads you to a tower. He promised he'd take me home, you cry. You are home, she smiles as she seals the door. This is where you belong. Your hand drops away from the soul jar, your skin prickling. In the back of your mind, you hear a small, scared voice whimper before fading to nothing. The long-dead lizard's visions fade.
This is the price of pride and greed. The villain got what he deserved.
One can't help but have a bit of sympathy. Who wouldn't want to return to their home?
What he did shames his people.
The pictograms on the jar stand fixed. You see a shape emerge from the ruins of the broken jar, a lizard in the finest necromancer robes. It grudgingly nods at you as it starts to fade from the mortal realm.
Farewell to flesh. Farewell to bone. Farewell.
The soul jar stands on its plinth, glowing softly. From within, you can almost hear the whisper of a voice. You see, or rather, you feel, a far-off land. Frozen breath hangs in the air, pine needles brush your cheeks, and in your arms you can feel a weight. A body, dead. But you have hope. Your vision swims. You're older, but perhaps not wiser. You march at the head of a shambling host, the enemies of Brachus Rex melting before you. The scene twists again. Now Brachus stands before you, a beautiful woman at his side. You lash out in treasonous rage, but cold arms bind you. You're sealed away in a tower. Your screams fill the darkness. You feel a jolt and open your eyes to see the soul jar before you, lying still in the vault. Your hand falls from the jar and grips the pillar as you try to calm your ragged breathing. The necromancer's memories fade to black, but the feelings remain.
The memories of a necromancer. What could be more vile?
No one deserves the fear and pain I felt in that vision. Not even a necromancer.
One must wonder how many more lives they took. How much misery the scum caused.
The jar stands before you, cold and still. A human spirit slips from the ruins of the jar. Decked in necromancer robes, she turns to you, bows, and starts to fade away to nothing.
Eternal thanks, young one. Oh, timely death.
The deity's head and hands are missing, severed as if by a sword. You can't tell if this was meant to be symbolic somehow, or a mere act of vandalism. As you take in its chiseled details, you have a vision. The statue comes to life and embraces you awkwardly with its broken arms. Unable to resist, you're flown away into an endless dark.
That shrine seems to have brought me here. What is this place?
Amid the soundless air of this alien world, a phantom-like figure awaits you. She too is innocent, as you can tell, but there are telltale details in her features that conjure memories of incense and mantras. The onyx eyes, three-layered crown, and feathered shoulders. You recognize her from the statues that stand tall in desert sands. She is the goddess Zorl-Stissa, greatest of the seven.
Red Prince, welcome be. May your words command the rivers. May your hands direct the winds. Fire of sun and rock of earth. May they serve you like faithful slaves. Red Prince, it is an honor.
To your surprise, the goddess sinks to her knees and bows before you in reverence.
Then you have prayed in vain.
She rises and considers you with deep-set admiration, like one would a work of art.
Red Prince, God-child, truest ruby of all realms. Tell me, do you know why you are red? Yes. The tale of your birth and the love born to you by the sun will always remain a part of your mythology. But I think there is another reason for your brightness. You are red, Red Prince, because all of you is heart. You are carnage, and you are concord. The Lord of War and Lord of Wisdom. You are lust, and you are love. You are passion personified. That is why I saved you from the all-consuming sea. Why I soothed your lungs with my breath and placed you gently on the nearest shore. Red Prince, you are greater than all others, for you are the sum of all others. You are the Father, the life shaper made manifest in a man. I would see that man a god. And take it you must, for I am a goddess no longer, robbed of my powers by the usurping divine. We, the Seven, are gathered here in these horrid halls of echoes, dead spirits vying for rebirth. But none of us will be the one of our children instead, a god woken like you. I have chosen you. You are to be my champion. Those days are over. Only one can don his head with stars and wield the sources of infinity. A great battle is being waged. It is the twilight of the Seven and the day to dawn of the One. The powers of all divinity must unite, and they must unite in you, the paragon of lizards. Our kind must rule this world, and none other. None of the primordial slime that made it onto two legs by nature's oversight. Take up the mantle, Red Prince, and all will be well. All will be well.
As she speaks these last four words, the outline of the goddess shimmers, shakes, then transfigures into an all-too-familiar shape. She stands before you in the guise of her, the woman you've been dreaming of for as long as you can remember. She is unparalleled beauty, and her skin's as red as yours. Yes, Here she stands, your deepest secret, your deepest desire. She whom you've longed for since your soul slipped into consciousness, and you lock eyes with her.
You think her but a mirage, ephemeral as smoke. But you know better, don't you? Know with all your soul. I could drop a stone into the well of your heart, and it would take the span of a sun's life for the little traveler to hit bottom. Such is the depth of your devotion. It is a good thing for the Life Shaper to possess such affection, for she too, your secret love, has her part to play in downfall and divinity. Now of divinity, let me give you a taste.
She steps close, puts her hand on your chest, and leans in.
Kiss me, my prince, for I am her. Kiss me, for I am your one true love.
The kiss is long and sweet as rosewater. As it endures, you can feel a whole new power invade and expand your spirit.
There.
It is Zorl-Stissa who is withdrawn from you, in her own godly guise once more.
I was her, just like I said. But the blessing I gave you, that was all me. Cherish this purest of pearls I have given you. A droplet of untainted source, and a promise of things to come. I blessed the very water beneath your feet. Now you may wield that power for yourself. So take it with you, back to our beautiful world. There, use it to make that world yours. Of course you have, but they can wait. What is life without a little mystery? Before I let you go, though, there is one more matter. You are traveling with company, yes? No, not friends, rivals. They are God-woken too, and may be courted by the lesser six. But you will be a god, none other. Smile at your fellow wanderers, but ready your knife, for its time will come. So, now we must part, with fire in your soul and resolve in your mind. We'll meet again, Red Prince. Always will I walk beside you.
The goddess steps back and waves, the warmth of her lips still lingering on yours. Then, sudden light and lightning, and you are gone. You hear a sharp chittering from the ground. It seems your squirrel friend is having an argument with his cat. After a quick back and forth, the squirrel throws up its paws and reaches out to touch your foot. You feel a strange new power fill your body. The squirrel sits back, sulking, and the cat struts away cheerfully.
again, child. What brings you here? He ruled this realm as a tyrant and beast. He stole its source and left only death. On this island he built and tested his weapons. These marshes were a playground for he and his necromancers. Many unfortunate souls were brought here. Blessed were those who died quickly, or died at all. The tales do him no justice. He was cruel, greedy, and stripped this land of all life. He was truly a horror. Indeed, the Magisters have even taken Brachus's worst tools. First, the purging ones, and now those shriekers. Without something more powerful than these sticks the Seekers are armed with, those crucified monstrosities will kill them to a man. Their leader, Gareth, also demanded that I must do something. I argued against it, but he was very insistent. I told him of Brachus's cache of soul-forged weapons, arms not even the Shriekers could stand against. He ventured out to find them, but has not returned. I fear for these souls, if he has come to any harm in the marsh. He set off north, to the ruins of Brachus's source armory, but there is no way to know what he found there, even if he survived the swamps. Walk ever in Armadia's grace, child.
The dead are back! Keep an eye out for their void-woken pets!
Can't
The Magisters scramble for their weapons, but pause as the smoke clears.
You got more flesh on your bones than our last visitors. Who are you?
Can't believe we lost so many men and still never got
A
through.
couple of skeletons have been nothing, but they've been relentless. Undead and void-woken both, attacking in waves. And then this Seeker arrived. I wouldn't be surprised if the Source-ridden scum is in league with them too.
We lost so many men and still never got through the last gate.
Same thing that happens to all sorcerers. He'll be taken to Fort Joy and his wickedness will be dealt with, if we can take the fool alive. But you haven't answered my question. Who are you? By the divine, that's happy news. I'll be glad to leave this cursed swamp behind.